Welcome everybody to Visual Disturbance. I'm your host Brian Reese. It's glad to be back on a live broadcast, coffee combo with the sugar on the side broadcast for today. Be talking about quite a few topics, a couple things I'll be talking about the last week and the last few months. Talk about that a little bit and talk about some stuff that happened at Pentecost the other day at the Puritan Barn and all kinds of good stuff. I'm going to talk a few things about news, world events, etc., and the lovely NASA narrative. You got to love that. In this day and time, you just can't make this stuff up. So if you just came 30 seconds ago into the broadcast, get your coffee, and you might have some sugar on the side after the broadcast. It's a little sarcasm today. The whole sugar on the side thing was something I come up with randomly off the cuff, so to speak. I always do, quirky coffee combos, but it's going to be a serious broadcast, and I guess you consider the NASA would be the sugar on the side narrative. But anyways, we're going to get into it today. Before I get going, though, got to give a shout out to my sponsors, Joshua Watts Leather. God bless you, Joshua, if you're tuning in. Joshua can make a amazing piece of artwork. I was at the Puritan Barn the other day, and somebody brought their Bible cover that was previously made by Joshua, and it was knocking it out of the park, so to speak. So if you check out Watts Leather Works, if you want to find a Bible cover, I highly recommend it, and you'll be glad you did. Give a shout out to Miss Ann, Shake and Wake Radio. Go check that out. God bless you, Ann. I hope you're doing well. And then also, check out my merch, Milkman Nephilim t-shirts, and also, speaking of Coffee Convo Radio, go out there and check out the link in the description for my Milkman Nephilim Chaser mug. You'd be glad you did. Today, it's going to be a serious broadcast. I'm going to be interacting with the chat. We're going to talk about the Pentecost. I'm going to start off with that first. Amazing time. I was so glad to meet everybody. Big shout out to John Pounders and David Carrico and all the Now You See TV crew. John, everybody, the Halls, y'all, just everybody was there. It was a blessing. Precious memories, precious time, and there's some people in the chat that I got to meet face to face. Shout out to Catherine. I know I seen you and met you in real life, so it's good to match a name with the screen name and a face with the screen name. Excuse me. But yeah, I just want to talk about some things. I have been live for a long time. It's been like 30 days, I think, on the Visual Disturbance channel. Been doing some other things. Life gets in the way. There's a lot of issues. We had some hiccups and along the way. It seemed like I hate to use the analogy, when it rains, it pours. But I don't even know if I can come up with a clever to combat that. It did rain and it did pour, and then it seemed like the river kept intensifying. But anyways, Pentecost was awesome. Just on another note, I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of different testimonies. I got to share my testimony, and some people, they just come up and ask me. So I was like, hey, this is an awesome opportunity. And get to know everybody, people, viewers, everybody that comes in. And, Spiritual Warfare joins us every Friday, comes on an FOJC Rumble. We're going to be on there this Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Atlantis in America, you all. Don't hesitate to hit that Rumble button, that like button, all that good stuff for that broadcast. It's going to be on this coming Sunday, Atlantis in America, me and David Carrico. It's not going to be the Redneck History Channel, but it's just going to be FOJC Rumble exclusive. We're going to be taking a deep dive into Atlantis in America. And one, Atlantis is, if there's any remnant or any element of Atlantis that is incorporated into the American culture, which there is all kinds of artifacts and, my goodness, megalithic structures. You name it, we got it up in the craziness of the Ohio Valley. So we're going to be taking a deep dive on that. So go check that out at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see everybody in the chat. I know it's going to be on Rumble, but it's going to be Atlantis in America. Go check the trailer out. If you, the Atlantis in America, I made a book. I made a story. I prayed about it. I wrote the book, created it, and we're going to use it for the intro to the program too. I'm really stoked about that. I was very blessed to be able to conquer that endeavor. And go check out the little trailer. It's like a minute and a half. Go check it out. Check out Spiritual Warfare Friday. Me and Dan will be there like we always are. I think also we're going to have Trey on again, I think. And what exciting it's going to be. But yeah, so this Pentecost event. So I put a lot of thought into it, especially after a lot of prayer. I thought about some things. I met some people. And then the way this world is headed, the world is like upside down realm, It just seems like everything is coming off the tracks, literally. It's not the realm, it's not the world that I was raised in. Well, one thing, we've gotten away from biblical truth. We got away from anything to do with godly values or any moral standpoint to that. But there was a couple of highlights. Well, there's actually all kinds of highlights. But I remember, I'm not going to mention any names, just for confidentiality, and I'm just not that type of person, just be blabbering names. But I met some people all over the earth. Some people came from Canada. There's some Canadians that came down. There's people that came from Florida. There's people that came from California. There's people that came from Oklahoma. All the way to break bread and to rejoice on the Pentecost and get to meet us. And it was absolutely awesome. I thought I was having the best time just meeting people. And I couldn't believe how many people traveled for so far to come up to Indiana and Tell City, Indiana. It was a blessing. There was a little boy, and I got to meet the father. There was a father, and then there was the father had a brother, and they come down from Michigan, and the two older gentlemen, they was twins, but the little boy, it was father, and then and the other man was the uncle. This little boy, he blessed me. He was so enthusiastic, so upbeat. He had his shofar, blowing his shofar and participating in everything that was going on in Pentecost. And I just he came up to me and shook my hand, and he watches. It was so amazing. He was talking about watching all of our stuff, Spiritual Warfare Friday with me and Dan, and all my stuff, visual disturbance. And I asked him how old he was. He was like, I'm 11, and it was a blessing that the father and the uncle, was teaching the boy the right way. But I was thinking, this little boy was so excited to meet me and stuff, and I thought about it real long and hard. I was thinking about after I met him, I was like, much is given, much is required. And it's important. It's important to what I say, how I say it, how I compose myself. And the number one thing is to shine a light in this dark world. And basically, I'm just a human. I'm just a man. But this little boy looked up to me and looked up to me and Dan, and was all, he was just naming all the programs we done, cryptic creatures, and talking about Bigfoots and stuff. And he's like, Bigfoot and Jesus. He was talking about Bigfoot. I love Bigfoots. I love Jesus. And he was just, going on and on and on. And he was just a cool little dude, I thought about that, and I thought, man, this is a blessing. I've got to make sure that I maintain what I say, my tongue, like what comes out. Because if kids are watching the content, that's why I like to do Draw and Living Waters, and with Adam, it's a kid, it's a family, more family friendly. I'm not saying all the stuff in visual disturbance is, family friendly, but I think some of it might be more for, when it comes into this alien narrative, or you get into this bigger topics and more in-depth topics, I think some of this stuff might be for an older crowd. But he, when it kind of humbled me. I was thinking, man, what a responsibility it is to make sure that I say the right thing and glorify the King and glorify Jesus. Like always, never lean to the left or lean to the right. Always keep that straight and narrow way. And I thought about that. And God bless that little boy and his family, his mother. I got to meet his mother. They was just a blessing. And I just promise that I will always, and for anybody out there, like I always want to give it my best and what I know, and like just speak truth and try to, like I said, shine light in this wicked, insane realm that we live in. I just want to give a shout out to them people. I'm not going to say they're from Michigan. That's as far as I'm going to go. Shout out to all of them. They're always in the chat and on Spiritual Warfare. I see them quite often. But it was cool to meet them in person. God bless you guys. There was all kinds of people I got to meet. Some other highlights. There was people telling me their testimony and telling me good, just saying it was a blessing. They're saying, hey, you do a good job and keep up the good work. And I'm thinking, man, I couldn't imagine, that I'd ever be, I'm just a man. I'm just Brian. I'm the broken down. I hate to use this name. I'm the broken down milkman, but got visual issues, and it's just a blessing. I'm gonna let the Lord I'm gonna keep on that narrow way and make sure I do the best darn job for you all and anybody I come in contact with. I'm not going to change for this world. I'm just going to stay the course, even if it's so. The last few weeks and last months, it's been like, you're like, are we going to make it? But then when you're in this flesh, especially men, we have this thing where we're like, when we can't control things and you feel like everything's spiraling out of control, you're like, it's raining, it's like you have to humble and get humbled and say, Lord, I know I'm not in control. I'm not in control of this stuff. And, you just got to keep your head up and keep moving. But, give a shout out to my uncle. If he's watching, I know he's probably busy. Shout out to my uncle. He fixed my van, the other day. We had some huge technical difficulties with their van, and we couldn't have made it to the Pentecost get together if it wasn't for my uncle. So all kinds of craziness this last week, and it was just wild stuff. You just can't make this stuff up. Wild stuff, and I'm not going to bore everybody with it, but God bless my uncle, and thank you, Lord, for allowing it, for us to have that and make that commute. And it was interesting. It was a blessing. All the fellowship praise. There was quite a few people there at the celebration. I got to meet all kinds of people talking about Indy mounds. Say, Brian, I'll send you this. Brian, I'll send you that. And I'm like, man, what a blessing. I tried to really talk to everybody. It was hard because there's so many people there. Like trying to get everybody. I like to get to know people. Instead of being like, hey, how are you? And then just like say their name and then just walk off. I like to really have a, just a conversation like, hey, where are you from? Or, really get to know somebody and put a face with a name. And I just enjoy a conversation. Shalom, Jason Miller. I know you was at the Puritan Barn. God bless you, my friend. But yeah, so this is welcome to Coffee Combo. If you're just now joining, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for old Brian Reese of Visual Disturbance Community. Haven't really even started, have I really started? with the Sugar on the Side broadcast. But yeah, it was a really good time. A lot of cool stories, testimonies, people coming out of their jobs that they was involved in they felt like it was not of anything to do with Jesus Christ. It was there's all these testimonies like how I'm walking away after all these years. Bobby Hale, shout out to Bobby Hale, and Jesus owns me, Brian Gilbo. I hope the back's doing well. Man, we're getting all kinds of people popping off in here this afternoon. I know it's a little bit earlier in the afternoon. It's like 4 o'clock, 4-ish in the afternoon. But here we are. And God bless you guys for, being on here. Thank you all. But yeah, this is just kind of before I get into the NASA narrative and all this stuff I got to talk about, I wanted just to give a shout out to the Pentecost. Everybody that was there. I got to meet some really funny people that were just cracking me up. They was people poking fun at me, give me a hard time, like, oh, Brian, on, like, I'm not trying to be mean. I know if somebody hears this broadcast, because I always say that sometimes on Redneck History Channel, I'm not trying to be mean, and it's just a Kentucky thing, and I thought it was really funny. And I didn't realize it was such a funny thing until a viewer or somebody looking and, hey, I'm not trying to be mean. And that's the first thing they was come up to me and introduce themselves. So God bless you all. Y'all was from Florida. And it was just funny. So it was a really good time. Pentecost was epic. I literally encourage everybody to try to make it next year if you can. I know you'd be blessed. I know it's a big endeavor if you live 7 states away or 6 or 5 or 4 or whatever. But I hope everybody gets to join, the Pentecost or any kind of event that we have at the Puritan Barn. So next one around, who knows? Just keep an eye out for John Pounders putting something up. And yeah, God bless you, David Carrico, John Pounders, all you guys. But anyways, shout out to everybody in the Pentecost gathering. I didn't get to talk to really. I yelled at you, Jason. I yelled at you. I said, "Hey, Jason Miller." I yelled at you, but I didn't even get to shake your hand, and I feel awful. Seriously, I wanted to at least have a conversation. But anyways, shalom, Stephen Wilson in the house, man. Yeah, and KWG podcast. Yeah, NASA never a straight answer. Yes, that is correct. So let's just kind of get on, since he said that in the chat. Let's go ahead and jump into the broadcast here. Well, we started 19 minutes ago, Brian. What are you talking about? But anyways, here we are. So I want to run something by you guys. I have never in my life have seen the depravity of this world as bad as it's getting. This broadcast will probably get shadow banned. Oh, God bless you for the donation. Thank you. But this will probably get shadow banned to the T. Probably horrible. But we're going to be talking about something here today. The depravity of our society and the NASA narrative, world events. And I really put some thought into this the other day. I went to the eye doctor. I'm trying to comprehend, because I don't get out much. I'm trying to comprehend what I'm seeing around me, especially when I go out to different, I have to go to a couple hours away from my home to make it to this facility. And I see the world, county by county, state by state, everybody's going through different, trials, man. It's just different realm. 30 miles can make a difference. All the stuff, there's memes, there's all this stuff on Facebook. Everybody's, all these different forums, these groups that are involved. A lot of people that's in the chat here are involved in them. And you see all these memes, you see all this garbage that's involved. I'm trying to watch what I say, the stuff that's being inundated in our society. And I thought about it. I said, this is how it's just so simple. This is so simple what I'm getting ready to present here. Everything comes from an origin. So we think about, the propaganda from the I'm gonna say the clothing lines, from the, let's just say, there's beer companies, which I don't associate with, but there's beer companies that are going, we all know. A lot of people in the chat here, we all know what I'm referring to. There's all kinds of agendas that are going on. So I asked, I was talking the other day, they're intentionally tanking it. They're intentionally tanking things. They're making these agendas, and putting all this stuff involving the, the things that break the Almighty God, the things that are not for the people that believe in our Father in heaven. They're not. This stuff is not for us. This stuff it's blaspheming. There's all this stuff to do with the, I don't even want to say it on here. There's just all kinds of junk. And it's being promoted, built on displays and clothing lines for toddlers, for all this junk, okay? And we all know darn well the agenda. We all know darn dang well. So I started thinking about it. I thought about it really. I put some critical thinking thought process in it. And I was thinking, let's go back. And here we go. This is off the cuff. Welcome to the Sugar on the Side Coffee Combo broadcast. I thought about it. We have CERN. We have a Hadron Collider in Geneva, Switzerland. Where, supposedly, they had an ancient city that worshipped Abaddon and Apollyon once upon a time in a miraculous world of, insanity. And they built a Hadron Collider onto the facility. And, I think it was 1989, approximately somewhere in that around that time frame is when they was trying to build the Internet of Things, like literally make the Internet. I started thinking about it. The Internet, all the things that's popping off as far as the Internet alone, and where it comes from. Like, where's this a darkness? Yes, you can do good and good. You can do good with it. You can do a lot of bad with it. And I started thinking about it, and my wheels started turning. I was like, okay. So everything that's being projected, everything that's being tuned into the network of things, the Internet of Things, the fiber optic cables, to all this, my goodness, we can get into all kinds of crazy stuff on here on visual disturbance, nanotechnology, all the stuff. My goodness, the singularity to the cyborg. We can go Terminator if we want to on here. I'm not recommending going Terminator, but my point is, this stuff started being inundated into the public eye. So, social media platforms, the machine is what I'm saying. Where does the origins come from? The machine of things, the machine thinking. So, we all know in our minds that we can articulate and understand. In the Tower of Babel narrative, it says, I'm paraphrasing here, there's nothing that man cannot do now that he can set his imagination to. I'm a little paraphrasing, so don't take me word for word that, but there's nothing that will, the whole Tower of Babel narrative, when God said there's nothing that man cannot do now. And I thought about that. I thought about, let's fast forward to 2023. Let's fast forward to 1955, or rewind back to 1955. And there's I think we're looking at fallen angel technology. Yes, there's different tiers of fallen angels. There's different seraphims. There's different cherubims. All this stuff. But when the God of Destruction is in is in Geneva, Switzerland, on the property, and I started thinking about all the ties and the tentacles it has in everything, into the QR codes, to how it pushes the agenda of putting displays up in these stores, in these big box stores, that pushes an agenda that we all know that is not good for our well-being. It's not good. And then we start thinking about what the plan is, what plan A and what plan B, and all the way to Z. And then we know about the World Economic Forum. That's all I'm going to say. These people, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking to myself, the CERN narrative and all this stuff being backed up, all this stuff being propagated, the stuff that they're talking about, we take something in, we send something back, all these different things. The bottomless pit narrative, the whole shebang, the whole ball of wax. And I think about it, and I say, okay, to myself, this stuff is pushing. It's almost like you have this ability to sync with a computer. Okay, it's all analog right now. It's all clicking, keyboard, and you have this. You've heard Elon Musk say, "Well, we are kind of like cyborgs now. We have to have our computer, we have to have our phones, etc." Well, I have this question. How did anybody know anything back in the day if there was nothing? If there's no computers, no nothing. How did you... And see, here's where I'm at. God and the Holy Spirit is never left, nor has gave up. But now we are using this advanced technologies, so-called advanced, which is, First Ecclesiastes, I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. There's nothing new in the sun. The things that have been have already been. I'm kind of paraphrasing that too. But my point is I don't think this is a new. I think it's just being implemented into our society so deep and so well. So it's so done well. I hate to use that. I hate to even say that and give credit. But they are shifting everything so quickly. And then when I go back to the Pentecost get-together and I see all that fellowship and I see that love for everybody, and I see, all the good comments and talking about the Lord, and we're yoking in Christ, and we're just there gathered together to enjoy the Pentecost. And I think about this, I'm thinking, if we turn everything off and we have all the knowledge today, just say we just shut everything off and we retain what we got, and that's all we have. The Bible is all we need. And I think about that. I really do critically think about that, and the Holy Spirit is going to give us understanding. So I want to bring something to you. So if CERN is hooked up, and that's where the WWW was created. I can't remember the gentleman's name that created out of the CERN's facility. I think they implemented it like in 1991 for public consumption. So where does all this come from? And the origins of that was CERN, but there has to be a spiritual application to it. So we all know, here we are in the 21st century, and the things are really ramping up super quickly. And it's just at a flick of a switch that we can turn into, when you have when you're in a store and you have like these, these mannequins with all this filth, and it does something that subjects you to this subliminal messaging. Like you're taking in stuff, and there's an agenda behind it. So everywhere you go, it's like, okay, like the They Live, like I have a little gift that comes up there, with the donation thing, and then put your glasses on, They Live movie, but consume, obey, and you have all this stuff, and it's going along. You're like, oh my goodness, and you're like, well, back in the day for me, I was like, oh, that ain't nothing. It's absolutely something. So before you know it, you've been so brainwashed to accept something. So my point to all this, it's got a push, such a heavy tug and push, and I am very concerned. I think the whole CERN thing, it's like the RPMs on you're walking around your temple, and you have this, now we got a turbo attachment to your motor, and you think that you have all this knowledge because you have this computer in front of you and all this stuff. Yes, it's good for research. Yes, it's good to look at archives and all these different things. Heck, I use it. Obviously, I understand that. But there's a bad side to it. So we're all seeing it. They're propagating. They're pushing this agenda. All these ancient. They're using ancient tactics to literally make families and people submit to this subduction. This subduction to it, the lust of the flesh, and all these different things. And to take away, everybody's jumping on the train. Everybody's jumping on this miraculous, magical train that is causing death and destruction upon the land. And I just can't brace it. I can't even think about it. I can't even I'm trying to, just like everybody in here, like I'm trying to navigate through it and pray against it, And here's one that makes me really think about things. I've said this before on the broadcast. I've talked about it. There was a day, there was a time, there was a place. I never got to meet them. I never know these people. I think about my ancestors. I've never met them. I don't even know I don't even know how to put a picture to the face. I'm talking 1,000 years ago, 2,000, whatever. I think about God looking down on them, a man, a woman, Indian culture, Native American, Poland. I have all kinds of different nationality, and I'm blessed. I'm very thankful for all what God has done. And I think about a narrative, people sitting there, and they might not even know Christ, or they might not even know anything. They may be like, we have to do this. Our God is, the Holy Ghost is saying, hello, whoever, John, or whatever his name is, I'm just any kind of name. I can't think of one right now, but whoever these people was back in the day, and God moved them regardless. Hey, I got to have Brian. I've got to have, shout out to Ray in the chat. Jesus owned me, Brian Gilbo. You have your ancestors, and they might not know anything about the Bible or anything in that time or frame. They might not, and they might have been completely just out of their mind. They might be worshiping spirits, and I don't know, whatever. But there was a decision. Think about this. Don't go this way. Don't go that way. This thing can happen. You could have all kinds of issues. There's danger that way. You could fall, whatever, fall off a cliff, and then your whole family tree, you'll no longer have any uh, your grandchildren or whatever, future generations. And I think about that. I really do think like, hey, this is something to really think about. God made us for this time, and we have to endure. We have to endure to the end. That's what the Bible says. And I think about those ancestors of mine and what they was thinking, and like all the decisions so we could be born in this time. Just think about that. It's so amazing. Like I really do think about it, and it's a blessing. Like it's unbelievable. Like it's that moment in that time when you're like, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. It's almost like you want to have, like generations go on, but it's almost like this world is so bad, but I'm if God, with his grace and mercy, if he wants it to go on for 1,000 more years, I want my descendants to know, like, man, I don't remember that guy's name, that crazy old broken down milkman or whatever. What's a milk truck? That's what they'll say. What's a visual disturbance is what they'll say. But man, if he didn't hold and stand for something, what was that song? What was it? Aaron Tipton. If you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, But that's just I can't help that, you all. But I'm just making this point. If it wasn't for those people that was navigating through all this insanity, even back then, there's all kinds of stuff going on that we will never know. But they every step, every footprint they made in the dirt, everything they did to till the ground, to every little micro decision that they made, that depended on how our future generations, or back in the day. So, and here we are. So we should be truly blessed, even though it's insane. So, anyways, there's me ranting on about how I feel about the whole CERN thing, and how it is altering the state, our mind, our consciousness is trying to alter it. And I will tell you this, I think it is literally deliberately trying to push sinful tactics to cause us to stumble so dramatically that our offspring, like the children of now, and this generation now, to completely stumble on a highest order, so they can implement this whole new way of life, this whole thing about, we're talking about World Economic Forum, all these things, to implement the 2030, all these different things, this whole transhumanism, all this being subjected into AI algorithms and stuff. Pray for this broadcast. Pray for this broadcast today, because before we get done today, it's probably going to get the hammer. So, anyways, no joke, everybody. Did y'all hear the news? Did y'all hear the news recently? Did y'all hear it? This is why we're on. This is why everybody's tuning in today. I got something real big to say about this topic. And here we go. As you can see on the screen here, NASA group studying UFO stresses need for better data in the first public meeting. Let me tell you a little secret and story here. I want to yell to the rooftops on this narrative. It makes me disgusted. And I'm sorry if anybody out there thinks that I'm out there quacky and, conspiracy theorist. Well, bless you anyways. But I pray this makes sense. So, this whole NASA group studying UFOs, right? So, I was just looking at it the other day. I was talking to my Uncle Willie about it. And this whole thing is being supported. And what's so baffling, I got documentation that does not support this, that doesn't support this narrative. And supporting this narrative is kind of like some of the biggest fluff I've ever seen in my life, because I've had old documents. Y'all seen me talk about them on here on Visual Disturbance. When it talks about literally 1947 event, we're talking about aliens, all that good stuff. But wait, The UFO, the three-letter agency talks about that they're giant. These people look like humans, but they're giant-like. And if you have an esoteric understanding, you'll be able to comprehend these documentation. Okay, and they talk about, in quotations, planet, that it's not from a planet like we say the word planet, like it was saying esoteric meaning. That these beings had this vibrational rate that could get through dense matter that they can pop in and out. That goes from their space, well, their so-called spacecrafts, and obviously their well-being. So that being said, time for a cup of coffee. I gotta get a sip of coffee. But the whole thing, to me, and even the documentation that I have, it literally is making commentary to like the same stuff we're dealing with today. But back in the day, nobody had a TV, nobody had the internet, nobody had a phone or anything like that. They just had a library, or barely had a library. And what I'm saying is, nobody knew any of the different. But the documents are still saying the same thing. It was going to it would cause panic in the streets. People would know what was going on. They knew what the identification with the flying disc was. All this stuff they was observing. And you mean to tell me, back on this title here, they're talking about literally, we're studying more, NASA group studying UFO stresses need for better data in first public meeting. Public meeting for this year, probably, but not in the history of the last, 100 years. Hello. They've probably been meeting like every week. But anyways, there's me. I'm getting off topic here, but anyways, according to this document, this is according out of Washington, an independent group of scientists and experts convened by NASA to study unidentified anomalous phenomenon known as UAPs or UFOs, stressed the need for better data about the encounters in its first and only public meeting Wednesday, exploring how the space agency assisted in efforts to understand the mysterious events. Yes, I'm from Kentucky. Yes, I have a visual problem. Yes, brain issues, all that good stuff. But I can still coherently understand this lies. Okay? So when you're looking up at the sky and they're seeing triangle ships and all this goofy garbage, and they're telling you that don't look up there, that's just make-believe stuff, or whatever the narrative is, I am completely tired of it. It's almost baffling. And what we're looking at here is literally what they don't teach, sons of God, which we're talking about fallen entities, fallen angels, and they're playing a little mind game. But these people put this stuff out, and I'm not putting down on this organization. I'm not putting them down. And I'm not trying to call them liars. I'm just trying to say, that you have documentation, but this is just for public consumption. This is for entertainment. That's all it is. It's just to bait and switch, and it's just to fish them in, and that's what you're keeping it consciously on the brain, continuously. Every now and then, it's like, okay, gaslighting here, pop this in here, pop this in there, and then all the other news and filth that's on there with the, I think it was all these other companies. I wasn't going to mention, there was a motorcycle company that's even jumped on the bandwagon. And they're all this stuff to distract. And then you give us this lovely report. You're telling us you're having this event. You're telling us all this stuff. You're telling me that you're going to take care of it and all this stuff. You have no clue what you're even talking about. Listen, if you have a physicist or a chemist, or they might come close to understanding because they have an esoteric understanding. But an average person, or even politicians, they're just being told what they need. They're reading off cards. They're just reading off teleprompters. They're not even, come on now. And I hate to be like that. Welcome to Visual Disturbance, and hit that like button. But get your coffee. But, and it keeps on going. NASA identifies UAPs as observations of events in the sky cannot be identified as aircraft or known as natural phenomenon from a scientific perspective. Hundreds of military and commercial pilots have reported observing unusual objects traveling high speeds with seemingly no propulsion system mechanism, confounding scientists, and military analysts who have struggled to explain their origins. Forgive me sometimes because a lot of people give me a hard time about me speaking, pronouncing. I'm having a hard when I don't pronounce words correctly. It's not that I don't know how to pronounce them. I accidentally pronounce them wrong because I cannot see them. I'm actually trying to hone in and trying to read it. And I don't want to pause when I'm trying to read, so sometimes it sounds like hillbilly language. But yeah, welcome to Kentucky flavor on there. So yeah, I'm not going to apologize. Sometimes I really can't see what I'm reading sometimes, and sometimes I accidentally misspeak. So forgive me, everybody. If you hold that against me, so be it. But it's all good. I don't get offended. It's all good. Just remember that. That's something I battle with when I'm trying to read something, so it can, there won't be a hesitation. And then sometimes I just, I skip over. I don't want to go back and correct myself. So forgive me. But I'm gonna try to do the best I can. So forgive me, everybody. So yeah, it gets into like the next paragraph. It says the 16 member NASA study group was formed last October to lay the groundwork for future study on the natural UAPs in NASA and other organizations. The agent said at the time the team's investigation relies solely on unclassified material from the government or private sector. Imagine who the private sector is. The group is set to release a report of detailing and findings of 9-month investigation later this summer. Oh, wow. Okay. What about all the other documents that you got? What about all the other stuff that you got? What about the stuff you got in Arizona? What about the stuff in Arizona you got that's underground? I think there's like 1,000 ships that are like literally in stasis, so to speak. What about that? What's going on with that? Just don't worry about that. That's all just make believe and figurative. Don't worry about that stuff, Brian. No man, or there's not a biometric, there's not a blood type now that can operate these vehicles. Brian, you're talking nonsense. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm being a little sarcastic there, but that is legitimately some true stuff. Go look it up. Okay, so this whole private sector thing too is what's wearing me out. The private sector. They all make it like, they act like that we cannot understand and comprehend what they're trying to spill. And we're the useless eaters. Welcome to the Useless Eater Club, everybody. The fowls of the air are still being fed. And God said, if the fowls of the air are still being fed, they're below us, basically, and they're smaller than us, and He still feeds them, and He's going to care for us because we are the image of God. But don't worry about that, Brian. We're just the useless eaters. That's what they say. Yeah. Yes, you know nothing. You will like it. Brian, be quiet. Don't be talking about don't be talking about good stuff. But anyways, I guess that's why I don't write these scripts for these lovely forums and websites, because I would go crazy if somebody told me I had to lie. So anyways, welcome to Visual Disturbance, everybody. But anyways, David Spergel, an astrophysicist, a group's chairman, opened Wednesday 4-hour meeting by highlighting the need for more high-quality data from UAPs from the government and the commercial sector. The group was tasked with giving NASA guidance to provide a roadmap to how it can contribute in this area, rather than explaining past events. Spergel noted, the current data collected efforts regarding UAPs are unsystematic and fragmented across various agencies, often using instruments and uncalibrated for scientific data collection. Spergel said, to understand UAP better, targeting data collection through data coordination and robust analyze are needed. Such an approach will help to discern unexplained UAP sightings, but even then, there's no guarantee that all sightings will be explained. I am just baffled. This stuff just makes my brain. We talk about this all spiritual warfare all the time, and we talk about the 200 million army, and all the stuff that's going on, and everybody just like, yeah, man. I've researched stuff, and how many years have you read? Oh, I just read for about 15, 20 minutes. I got totally understanding. I totally got complete understanding, and I'm not scoffing at these people. I'm just saying I think that's what these people. I think that's who wrote these things. I think that's what they're doing. I think it's literally like ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT. Can I prompt and write me a lovely story about UAPs and UFOs? And this is what came up on the website. I really do think that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being. Hey, did I come off as a little bit of a jerk? Forgive me if I did. But I think this is. And forgive me for possibly putting down on somebody's work that wrote this out. Forgive me, that's not my intent. But I'm just saying this could probably easily be done by ChatGPT. Probably took about 30 seconds or 20 seconds to make this article, and literally just scrape the internet for data and then articulate on a form, and then you just post it up and say, hey, I wrote that. So welcome to the 21st century of 2023, where your eyes can deceive you. You can't make this stuff up. Anyways, another thing too, for me to I'm gonna go on a rant here. How in the world can people just be like, I know, can't you hear me? Like somebody on a higher stature or whatever, that's on TV, it's on television or whatever, and they work for these agencies, and they're like, I know all knowledge, but at the end of the day, it's like you gave me nothing but entertainment and just like not talking about anything. It was a phenomenon that nobody has ever seen. It was over Texas long ago with the bright lights. I mean, it's almost you want to grind your teeth out of your head, because it's all like a mass production of just ignorance. And we all know, even by everybody that's in this chat understands that this stuff has been long ago. When you talk about Ezekiel's wheel, in a wheel, and people are like, Brian, you can't be doing that. You can't be talking about the Bible. That has nothing to do with the flying crafts in the sky. What in the world are you talking about? And it's just infuriating. It's infuriating. Meanwhile, the system, the whole thing is getting ready to, according to death and destruction. I hear a lot of YouTubers out there. They're constantly talking about the war that's going on. They're constantly talking about, I have this inside know and all this stuff, and the inside feed. And it's like death and destruction 24/7. It's not upbeat. It's not talk. I mean, I want to hear about how we combat it. And this is how we can combat it. Okay? We talk about scripture. We embed it in our brains. We write that on our hearts. When we think about all these things I mentioned earlier at the broadcast, if you're just now tuning in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. I really would. And when you think about all this, and you really come down to it, and you're saying, okay, scripture needs to be, we need to retain it. We need to understand it. But when you start asking these big, conversation pieces, well, Brian, this stuff has nothing to do with the Bible. But okay, we're talking about the Vinama, the Orphana. That's in the book of Enoch, mind you. And then you got the Ephah. The Ephah's in Zechariah 5. And people don't want it. They act like they just push it aside. Just don't worry about that. But how, when we combat it, because we're supposed to be we're watching for, we're supposed to be the salt of the earth. We're literally waiting, and we're praying for supernatural protection from our Father, from all these things. And I think about this all the time, like, if God ordained him, like, well, he did, ordained him at that time for the angels to understand and talk to Enoch. It makes me wonder, when I really do think about this, I think about they had to listen to what Enoch said, and what Jesus did on the cross is beyond phenomenal. We can never even understand it all, but I know that he paid a way for us to have even this conversation today, and even be talking about it. And even in these crazy topics about what NASA's projecting and all this stuff, and all this endless, insane filth of toilet bowl cleaner. I'm being sarcastic. But this stuff is just so baffling, okay? Jesus paid the way. And we have to hold to that. We can't leave. We can't go on the Emerald Tablets, the Ascension, the Thoth about the Atlantean. Speaking of Atlantis, we're going to be doing some touching base on that on the FOJC Rumble on Sunday on 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But we can't be talking about how are we going to become immortal. And that's what they're projecting. They're trying to look for immortality on this face of this earth. And God has promised us all kinds of things beyond this life. Like we are going to have an immortal stance in the heavenly realm. And I don't understand how these people don't see that. But I do, because let's just face it. They left their first estate. We're talking about Jude. The angels left their first estate. And they took dollars from the daughters of men. They took dollars as they chose and had giants. And they can't go anywhere else. They left the first estate. So it makes you wonder. And I think, in my opinion, they want people, if you haven't got anything else broadcast, the one thing that I'm trying to make a point is they are going after everybody as far as the soul. They want you to be so defragmented and so brought down to a state that your sinful flesh that we all have, they want you to go straight to hell. And that's it. They want us out of the way, and they don't want us to go to the heavenly realm and the many mansions that Jesus gave us, that Jesus went to build for us. And these people just, I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoying this broadcast, me ranting on. Lariva, bless you, welcome. Yeah, I'm still on here. I'm rambling on. Getting fired up to this afternoon. Welcome everybody. If you're just now joining in, it's at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we're having a coffee combo with a little sugar on the side. Yeah, I mean, okay. So anyways, this is one thing I want to throw out here too for future endeavors. Oh, by the way, and guess what? I've been talking about some very controversial things for the last 7 minutes. I've been having some computer issues. Imagine that. Because I'm talking about controversial stuff and people get all crazy. And they already know. I told you a while ago when I first started, I'll probably start getting shadow banned and I have all kinds of technical issues, and here we are. So, here's the question. What's not really a question? I have an announcement. Anybody out there that has been anticipating the Bermuda Triangle Part 2 that's been in the works for like forever, I am going to be doing Bermuda Triangle Part 2. I'm going to have a special guest on. That is going to be happening between now and probably about a month, maybe between now and somewhere in June. And that's going to happen. So look out for that. And I know Jesus Owns Me, Brian Gilbo, was cracking up over that one because he's been giving me a hard time forever on that one. Then also, another thing to throw in there, I want to make a new, because I've been working on a lot of back end stuff. That's why it's took me forever to go live or anything at all on my channel. I want to make a, and I can only do it through your all's help. Okay, so wherever you are in the world, I don't care if it's another country, wherever you're at, whatever land that you place your feet on, and you see an anomaly, if you see something crazy popping off in the skies above you, please take a picture. If you have an opportunity, you can get a pretty cool, clear picture. I want to make like some type of new formatted show, broadcast, and make it to do with, I can like say anonymous if you want me to do anonymous, or I'll just say like, for example, I'm picking on Jason Miller. Like, Jason sent this. I won't say the last names. I won't give away. Or if you want me to do anonymous, and I can literally like say this is from anonymous in Oklahoma or New Jersey or whatever, or wherever you are, Australia, wherever, and I can post it up, and we'll have like a huge just a huge conversation piece. If it's a video, if it's video or it's pictures, whatever, however you would like to do that. If you could do that, and the Visual Disturbance email is at the very bottom of the description, the very, 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 very bottom of the description. on this broadcast. If you could go there and send me any kind of unidentified flying object, whatever kind of anomaly. Well, if it's a dogman, if you see something that looks like Bigfoot, that's even better. We'll do cryptic creatures and UFO phenomenon, and I can have that would be really cool to have either a weekly broadcast or every other. I mean, what kind of anomalies? Leafy Greens, we know who you are. Leafy Greens, what kind of anomalies? UFO stuff or weather stuff? Based off your location, my friend, in Arizona, you have all kinds of stuff. Just pick it. Weather phenomenon, anomalies, UFOs. You live in a state of all kinds of stuff. So, just the skies are on fire over there in Arizona. So, I'm being silly. Leafy Greens. But anyways, I'm going to try to do that for a new broadcast. Speaking of Leafy Greens, there is somebody out there that I do a Draw and Living Waters with. God bless him, Adam. We're going to do Draw and Living Waters here soon, and it's a really cool broadcast. Me and him have talked, and keep an eye out for that one, because that one's going to be so great. It's probably going to be one of the best Draw and Living Waters that we've done. We're going to incorporate some stuff. I'm not going to give the surprise away, because it's so cool, and we're going to incorporate scripture. I think you all will enjoy it, and I'm just letting everybody know it's something that the audience can participate in, and it's going to be something that kids can participate in, and we're going to do something that's like an activity that everybody can all do together, and it's such a great idea. We come up with it the other day, and I'm going to be really stoked about that too. Also, all kinds of stuff to be thankful for. But keep an eye out for Atlantis in America. Awesome stuff. We're going to be talking about serpent mounds. I'm going to be throwing out some ley lines. I mean, it's going to be, that broadcast is going to be jam-packed with, we got David Carrico on there. I mean, come on now. Let's give a shout out to David Carrico. We're going to be jam-packed with megalithic structures. I mean, we're going all out on that broadcast. I'm just letting everybody know. Tune in this Sunday. Super stoked about it. I'm get a sip. Did I sip a coffee while ago? I don't think I even did. I'm sitting there holding it and just talking. But anyways, okay. So I'm gonna interact with the chat before I get off here today, because I like to interject and talk to the chat, even though I'm messing around with Leafy Greens right now. Yeah, better be glad I like you, Leafy Greens. I might kick you out of the chat. I'm just kidding. I would never kick anybody out of the chat. I love you, brother. I know he's probably cracking up. What do you mean? You're going to kick me out? But yeah, welcome to Coffee Convo. Where you get a little coffee convo conversation. And the title of it with a little sugar on the side. And unfortunately, I don't have any sugar in my coffee. I don't know. I don't have sugar. I use half and half, but today I just didn't put any. I was rushing to get on the broadcast. I didn't put anything in it, but just it's pretty dark coffee here. So, but anyways, so Pentecost was off the chain. This week good news. We did get the roof put on. That was a whole. That's been a blessing. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Father. Had all kinds of issues. But it took a couple months, but we got that thing put on the top of the house. So what a blessing! Just gave everybody a shout out for everybody being so kind, and your all's prayers, and just being so kind to me. Yeah. So Leafy Greens, you still there? You still there? Ray, thank you for moderating the chat. But yeah, I'm really stoked. If y'all seriously could do that for me for future broadcast, I know that's a lot to ask from a lot of you all. I wanted to do one other thing too, because there was somebody that I met in the meet and greet. She proposed this, and I have not forgot about it. I won't say her name. I'm going to do another broadcast to where I can do, maybe, if I can, pull people in for, testimonies, for literally have off the cuff, sporadic guest. So it'd be literally interacting with the chat. And I could pull you in if you want to be on camera, or I can just blur your face out and then just muffle the sound, or change, if you didn't want to be on camera. And then talk about experiences like with cryptic creatures and anomalies, Dogman, always do Mothman, all this stuff. So I'm working on all that stuff. That's for future endeavors. So keep that in mind with all that. So Drawing Memoirs, getting back on the horse with that, and then Bermuda Triangle Part 2. Can't wait for that one. Special guest coming on there with me on that one. And then check out the FOJC Rumble. That's going to be epic. And then these 2 new things I'm coming on with the UFO stuff and sending pictures, video footage with you guys. It can only be, I can't emphasize this enough. I could not do this, seriously, if it wasn't for you all. And you all take your all's time, like an hour, like it's an hour and 2 minutes. You all bless me for taking the time out of the day to get on here with me. I mean, it really does mean, it means a lot to me. It's a blessing. I mean it. And all the love and support, I mean, it's well received. I promise you that it's well received. You all have no idea. You all have no idea. And I don't like to get on here and ramble on about my infirmities or the endeavor, all these things I have to endure, but all the love and the prayer and everything, it is well received. Y'all, I promise you all that. So, but anyways, NASA narrative cracking off today. They're having their lovely conference. I seen something just the other day that was baffling my mind too. I'll stay on for a little while longer. Extra content. Here's the extra sugar on the side that I was mentioning earlier. There's the bonus content if y'all are just now joining. I'm not getting off here yet. I keep seeing these weird phenomenons. Like seen something the other day. There was a triangle ship that was it's like 2,000 something miles from each other in the same day. Seen the same craft. All this stuff that's being portrayed. You got the what's so baffling, it was exactly the same time whenever they had the nuclear bomber so-called airplane up in the air. It just baffles me that all this kind of flows together, in my opinion. It's just like all these anomalies, and then they have all these weird, the weather balloons. According to our lovely, administration talking about Hobby Lobby balloons on car balloons, that was said. I'll never forget that. That's what they shot down with their $400,000 missiles, the rockets, Hobby Lobby balloons. And I'm being serious. That was what was told. So it's like I said, ChatGPT must be doing a darn good job of writing out some stuff pretty good too, so everybody can just throw out regurgitation. Just throw out. I mean, my goodness. I mean, let's just start making newsletters, and making just random stuff. Papa Smurf, Gargamel just popped out of the cracks of Louisiana. I mean, and people believe it. I mean, so, or, we got Lion-O from the Thundercats. He just popped out of the caves of Kentucky, and that might be very well true. That is sarcasm right there. That might be very well true. We could get on the Lion-Like Men of Moab narrative. We can get on that today. Yeah, that's a whole other topic. My goodness. Woo! But anyways, if you just missed it, no joke, conference today with UAP UFOs, supposedly the first public meeting. All this stuff with this whole cult. We're supposed to have some huge hurricane season. I'm going to be incorporating the hurricane narrative. Jared Miller, bless you, my friend. Welcome to the broadcast. The hurricane season is supposed to be off the chain this year. I wonder about that, huh? We're going to be talking about that in Bermuda Triangle. I have this theory. Bermuda Triangle Part 2, I have this theory about the hurricanes and why the hurricanes are so darn long and they exist. They'll stay afloat for so darn long when they get around the East Coast and around the Bermuda Triangle. And we're going to be talking about that stuff. And, yeah, guys. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But yeah, I was glad to be back on the live stream. Yeah, DC Cooper, I said Papa Smurf and Gargamel. That's exactly what I just said on here. I went back to the 80s. That's where all the that was the small avatars. That was before James Cameron made the movie Avatar back in 2010. He must have got his inspiration off of the Smurfs. Yeah, I went there, DC Cooper. I'm sorry. I could go on a rant about that. It is Coffee Convo. I could go on a rant about that. Gargamel. You know, I remember, what was it? Azrael? Was it Azrael? Was the cat? DC, help me out. Was it Azrael that was the cat? Imagine that. Was it Azrael? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the name of the cat. There's so much stuff in that. There was, and I hate to put down that, but there was so much magical wisdom and sorcery and elixirs and all kinds of stuff in that. I mean, come on, everybody. Gargamel. It's best I can do it right now. My throat's real dry. I had enough coffee, but I don't know. It's Does anybody ever remember Silverhawks? That was back in the 80s. Anybody? That's a totally another one too. That one has to do with all kinds of cosmological narratives. You have the Thunderbird narrative. You have Hawkman. You have all these characters that was involved in the 70s and 80s. Silverhawks was one that nobody really knows about. That's just another one. But yeah. But just can't make this stuff up. Azrael's the cat. Yeah, those were my Lariva, those were my favorites. Yes, Brian, you got it. Yeah. And what was it, Voltron? That's another thing. Did y'all see my post on Facebook the other day? You have the little magic school bus, and you have Captain Planet. And he's like he's a hero. And they all have the red, they all have the colors of the rainbow, and it's always the same. You got Voltron, you got, here's another one. Anime. You got Ronin, was it Ronin Warriors? Hello. Welcome to Random on the seriously, Coffee Combo Radio. Was it Ronin Warriors? That was an anime. It was a Japanese anime. And it was like orange. I mean, it had all the colors. Red, green, yellow. And Voltron was in the mix. All these characters back in the 80s. And then you got the 90s, right? So they had to reformulate it and make it into Power Rangers. I mean, hello, welcome to the Twilight Zone. And then we did that broadcast with Dan the other day. The Nephilim heroes, and we was talking about the gauntlet with Thantos, right? But I'm sorry I got y'all laughing. Y'all were cracking up. But there's LaDonna up in the house. Yeah, bless you. But yeah, all this stuff has been just swindling its way in. And I think it was an uptick in the 80s, in my opinion. Time travel, Terminator, all these things that was being propagated. You had Bill and Ted's Adventures. I think it was in the late 80s, early 90s. You had your telephone booth. A lot of people don't even know what a telephone booth is anymore. But you got the Matrix with Keanu Reeves going into the phone, and he's, zapping himself into the fiber optic cables, breaking himself down in ones and zeros, binary code, and all that lovely stuff. I love how they do greens. I love how they use the color green when they do that. I love it. I just love it. It just baffles my mind. You wouldn't even believe this, you all. Okay? When I do go into vision therapy, I have to sometimes wear like red lens and green lens, and it reminds me of National Treasure with Nicolas Cage in it. And I'm always like making comments, and people don't understand what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to I try not to push too hard or poke the so-called poke the nest too hard and cause discord. And I'm like, and I'll make some commentary, be like, oh, it's time. I was like, where's the Declaration of Independence? And they'll be like, what? Like, what are you saying? I'm like, the red and green. Is there invisible ink? Is there invisible ink on this exercise you're trying to get me to do in vision therapy? And but yeah, that's a whole other topic. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. When I do these coffee convos, it's usually just off the cuff, and today it's with a little sugar on the side, and I try to just have an enjoyable time. I hope y'all enjoyed. It's kind of a little bit off of character when it comes to not doing giants and etc. But we incorporate everything in here. Crystal Gross is in there talking about the Gumby show with the little horse. Was it named Pokey? Was that the name? Yeah, the little Gumby. Gumby was an amazing show. The little clay feature, little clay characters. Listen, to make that happen for an animation standpoint and to a camera, and to do frame by frame by frame by frame by frame, and take a picture frame, and move the character and still frame imagery. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're talking about off the chain, and patience beyond patience beyond patience, and your brain, after you move Gumby's hand or his arm like 5 times, it's time to call it quits, folks. I mean, my hat's off to people that done that, bro, that was able to produce that, direct it. My goodness. Is there anything else y'all want me to comment on out there? Hey, man. Oh, yeah, DC. How did he do it? He goes, "Hi, I am Adam." And he's like, "Cuss." He's like, "Hey, man." Castle Grayskull. Listen, no joke, real quick. Thank you, DC, for getting me going. He-Man, they had reptilians, literally reptilians. Go look that up. They had all the little characters, and they're all Castle Grayskull. All that stuff was involved, right? All that stuff was involved, and they had like they had the dog man. It looked like a what was he? Was he a wolf or like a? There was a gorilla. There's all this stuff. There's Nephilim creatures everywhere, right? He goes, "Hi, I am Adam, and I'm here to defend and go against Castle Grayskull," or something like. He's like, and they're always holding the sword up in the air, right? He got the, and he throws, "He man," and then you have Lino, and he's like, "Give me sight beyond sight." I mean, come on, you all. And it pulls up. He has the cat eyes, and it has a slit, and it's like open at the pineal gland, and they're like, "Oh," and the Thundercats, all of them, Chitara, and all his Panthro, all these guys, they're like, "Lionel's calling us. Welcome." I mean, Nephilim creatures out. I mean, Bizarro World, man. Bizarro World. Yeah, Bobby Hale. Bobby Hale just did Super Mario Brothers. I did a Redneck Kid. Well, it was before I think we did a broadcast. We did on the FOJC. I brought slides. I was bringing stuff about the Mario. This was the 1993 movie, okay? And 1993 version where they literally go to an underworld, okay? They go to the underworld, and there's reptiles, there's lizards, and that's where you get the Yoshi characters and etc. The whole, everybody that's a Mario fan. But Koopa was down there. He looking like, half human, half something else, whatever. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and then DC crazy cartoons made us Looney Tune. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, it's not even funny. But yeah, they between the Space Ghost, what was it? Space Coast? What was it called? Space Ghost or something on Cartoon Network? All that stuff, man. And you just can't make this stuff up. They will blow your mind with this stuff. I mean, it just. But yeah, I think there was a bunch of other cartoons too that was involved with that. One would wonder. But see, this is what I'm talking about. So CERN was firing off in 1955, folks. Let's just get real. CERN was fired off and cranking in 1955. They was literally running that thing in 1955. If you're just now joining, I was talking about CERN, the CERN facility. That thing was popping in 1955. So isn't that interesting that Back to the Future is always like associated with 1955? Okay. They use the term Great Scott. We're gonna get into that on the Bermuda Triangle, but Bermuda Triangle Part 2. Oh yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh yeah, Scooby Snacks. Listen, the Flintstones. Well, Flintstones. Well, I hate to tear it all down today. Leafy Greens, you're still in here. Leafy Greens, Doctor Doom. I hate to be Doctor Doom on here tonight or this afternoon, but Flintstones. Listen. The Blue Lodge is on there. The Blue Lodge is on there. If anybody is out there that understands this broadcast and understands what we talk about in ACTV, the Blue Lodge is on the Flintstones. I'm just letting everybody know. Yep, and they have the horns on top of their helmets. And we can get into a whole topic about that. But yeah, Sailor Moon taking you into oblivion. Crystal Gross. Teenage Ninja Turtles, we was watching a live action documentary. I mean, daggone. Daggone. I'm going to use that language, a Kentucky flavor. But no joke, Sailor Moon would take you off into Marigoland and into a cosmic boogie woogie. That's what David would talk about. But and then what else? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, no joke. Shredder and all that. Shredder was off the chain. All these things have correlation with Nephilim characters. All of it. It's baffled my mind. Traits to do with all kinds of different origins. All these names of the characters. Donatello, Leonardo. I mean, come on. And Jamie, welcome to the coffee convo. We've been an hour and 17 minutes in. You're just now joining us. I've mentioned Bermuda Triangle Part 2 like 3 times, and you're missing out. You're missing out. But we are going to be doing that broadcast, so keep an eye out for that. And Captain Planet, Bobby Hale. And Armando 88, Dragon Ball. Look, Dragon Ball Z, no joke, was one of my favorite cartoons of all time, unfortunately. And that series alone and everything that goes along with that, they had wide variety. That anime that started in like the 80s in Japan. Unbelievable how long that's been. They're still making movies about it. Unbelievable how long that's been going on. It reminds me of The Simpsons, right? The Simpsons, I wouldn't listen. The Simpsons, oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. I didn't know I was watching some of the worst filth back in the day. I just can't imagine. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I didn't know I was watching just garbage. And I'll tell you another one I'll never forget. I did not realize back in I was watching reruns from the 60s and in the 60s and 70s, the Planet of the Apes. I did not realize that I was doing and watching a Planet of the Apes documentary. I didn't know it was a documentary. I really didn't know it was a documentary. Welcome to 2023. Elon Musk is putting Neuralink and putting chips in the chimpanzees and stuff, and he's making them. He's intensified and putting some RPMs he's putting more throttle in the engine, right? And he's putting more horsepower into the motor. And these things are doing video game and all kinds of different. They're calibrating it to where they can literally play a video game and be more tactical and better than a computer, be better than a human at playing video games. But yeah, LaDonna, we was all watching garbage. We was watching garbage real bad. The 80s, they was teleportation and everything. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was teleportation, nanotech. I mean, they was talking about everything. What was that one show called The Mask? That one was all kinds of crazy. And then you had Toxic Crusaders. Toxic Crusaders was another one. It's always about mutating, or what was the other one that came out in the Marvel Universe? Swamp Thing. Yeah. I mean, come on. What was that? How that it goes, Swamp Thing. I think they used the Wild Thing song or whatever. There was an old, and he was some man that was in the swamp that turned into, he had all these tentacles. He could grow, roots everywhere, and it was unbelievable. I mean, we was literally watching. Everything was being subliminally programmed up until this time. Like, it was for real. Like, we didn't even know what we was watching. We didn't even always watch. And then, then they throw something, they throw like, what was that one? Oh, yeah, don't even get me going on it. Man, Bobby Hill's getting me tore up over here. I got one for you. They would throw one at you, right? I do my impressions of Smokey and the Bandit. That's hilarious. Smokey and the Bandit, something like real. They'd have cartoons that was more toward like adults. It was more toward an adult setting, and we didn't even know it. G.I. Joe's, Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander was on there. I mean, come on. Reptiles, lizards, what was it called? Sepator or Serpentine or Sepator, something like that. I can't remember the name, but all those names, all those characters, all of it is to do with UFO phenomenon. They had flying ships, all that stuff. You can't make it up. G.I. Joe's, Transformers, all that. Every bit of it. Unbelievable. Can't make it up. G.I. Joe's was off the chain, man. I have the whole series. Unfortunately, I have it all. But there was so much predictive programming in that, you make your eyeballs peel in the back of your head. But I will tell you this. There was one that you'll have all these cartoons and stuff. And I remember my dad, we watched like Lethal Weapon and stuff. And I remember, good night, right? Lethal Weapon. And then I remember, what was it, Smokey and the Bandit? And, talking about, what was his name? Boss Hogg, whatever was his name? The sheriff. He'd be like, Junior. How he'd do his accent? He'd be like, listen here, Junior. And Oh, I can't wait to get home and stuff like he's like, Daddy, what do we do, Daddy? Get in the car, Junior, get in the car. And it was just, you can't make it up. So you'd be hearing all that, and, and, well, was it Toy, Bobby Hill, was it Toy Soldiers or Small Soldiers? It was Small Soldiers, man. Was it Small Soldiers? And it was like, what was the name of that character again? They were little toy soldiers. I think his name was Adam, wasn't it? He goes, Adam, I am. And there was like these little live soldiers, these little toys become to life, and they start. It was just crazy. Start going to war with the city and stuff, and yeah, it's unbelievable, you all. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. What was Plays in the Dirt? Shalom, welcome. Yeah, Boss Hog was in Dukes of Hazzard. Buford T. Justice, thank you, Mark Tillis. God bless you. I got to see you at the Pentecost. That was epic. I'm glad to see you, my friend. But yeah, he was always like, he's like, I can't even do the impression anymore. Listen here, Junior. And that whole character, that whole movie was so much filth, and there was all kinds of stuff that breaks, and I'm totally against all of it. I mean, it's just filth. It's just filth. There's just all kinds of provocative stuff said, subliminally said. It's just all filth. It was all to program us and mess us up. It's just bad. Are y'all recording this? Is somebody saying they're recording this right now? We did it with the recorder. Okay, I was about to say, y'all playing around with the VHS back in the day. Yeah, I thought y'all was recording me. Y'all gonna use my Buford T. Justice impersonation. But yeah, I know I'm getting a little bit off course here. And a lot of people don't. It's good to have fun in an insane world that we're living in. I'm just trying. What I'm getting at in this broadcast, I'm trying to expose how much silliness that we've been, and see how easy it is for me. Like, no, I mean, I don't even have, y'all are just, like, I'm watching the chat, and I can pull up stuff, like, super quick. Like, with the Boss Hog and all these different things, I can resonate with it, right? So here's a good one. Why in the world can we not do that with the scriptures? I want to ask a question. Why can't we understand and read and write those in our hearts and be able to, when somebody says John 14:14 or John 3:16, we should be able to. No, I'm not being mean here. Why can't we read every word verbatim, like read every word on the verse and be able to, say, hey, I know what that verse is, right? But when we start talking Castle Grayskull, when we start talking about G.I. Joes, we can remember the names, we can remember the color of their clothes, their craft, or their ship, or their vehicle, whatever it is. And that's what I'm saying. So all this stuff, so just think about now, in today's society, how they're using these agendas and the CERN and all this stuff, incorporating all this. And I'm going to be honest with you, with dark matter and this dark magic stuff and all this stuff that they're propagating, it's all being pushed for one huge phenomenon. I mean, this stuff is getting where it's just off the chart, and nobody's going to. I mean, people are just there. It's worse. It's 25,000 times worse than it was back in the day. It's because the flesh is at war with the spirit. That's right, Mark will tell us. That's correct. That's exactly right. We're talking about Ephesians 6 stuff. And speaking of Ephesians 6, I do have that up. I can pop that one up pretty quick. Ephesians 6, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. Ephesians 6 verse 6 verse 12. And it's it is. It's just one big merry-go-round of filth. I mean, but y'all get me cracking up on these shows tonight, this afternoon. Plays in Dirt, Shalom, welcome. Yeah, I'm just doing a random live broadcast with Coffee Convo radio show. Welcome everybody. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I'll talk about a wide variety of topics. I try to. There's a days that I'm serious. Today I've been trying to be serious. I've been kind of being neutral today, being serious and being a little silly too along the way. It's what you get for when you turn on the Coffee Convo radio. We talk about a wide variety of stuff and just have a good time doing it. But yeah, I'm playing a bunch of serious topics and stuff when we go down the road here on the Visual Disturbance channel. But today is just off the cuff with a little sugar on the side, and we're just gonna have a good time doing it. And I like interacting with the chat too. Y'all are cracking me up. Sherry Walters says big deception, absolutely. But yeah, it's upside down world. It is upside down world. And renew your mind and fill it with truth. That's right, Joy. Shout out to you. That is correct. Renew your mind and fill it with truth. That is correct. Die daily and renew your mind. Renew your mind. This is no way you can. Oh man, I'm not Bobby now. Bobby Hale. I'm not gonna read that. I'm not gonna read that, Bobby. Not on the visual disturbance. I could do that impression, but I'm not going. I could say that, but I'm not going to. But it's been fun getting on here. I mean, we're like an hour and 27 minutes in. What does time, man? Listen, it flies by when you're having a little bit of fun, being serious with a serious topic. And I met you, Bobby. Bobby Hale is a good man, and I'm not trying to, fill him full of just smoke. I mean, he's genuine, and I hope he's doing well with his family. I pray all is well, my friend. He's a good dude. So he's a hard worker too. He's got that worth ethic. He's almost when you come to it, we got some things in common when it comes to driving trucks and stuff. So yeah, this things can being a workaholic, and Brian, I think it's was it Jesus on Me, Brian Gilbo has that same experience too with and I think that's why he has back trouble. So be in prayer about that. These types of jobs can kill you. Literally, or take something from you, get hurt and have stuff happen. So but anyways, praise God, Bobby. I seen it. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, is there any other cartoons that y'all want me to elaborate on before I get off here this afternoon? Because I am up for some more, just for a few more minutes. If there's anything you throw out there that I forgot. I think we covered about every 80s cartoon. There's quite a few. Oh yeah, what was it? Oh man, it was something to do with the alien rabbit. What was his name? Not Roger Rabbit. Not that. It was some cartoon with a little green. Oh man, what's the name of that character? There was some kind of space age animal. It was like a rabbit, some ducks. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Highlander. La Riva. Highlander. Psh. There can only be one. McCloud. And listen, the Highlander and the Outlander series, let me tell you something. The Outlander series that just came out, several years ago, there's one and the same. Okay? We're talking about Scotland, all these different things. The Ring of Brogard, the Calanese Islands, all that stuff with the rocks, with them touching it, the time travel, the witchcraft, all that phenomenon. All that stuff has a correlation with something, okay? I've done a show, the Calanese show I did, and that has a correlation with something. I mean, absolutely. But the Highlander and the Outlander with the time travel narrative, look. The Highlander series is all about the sword. So we talked about this today. There's a sword in the He-Man series. There's a sword in the Lion-O series. And I remember I tracked this back. I did this on another broadcast. I tracked this back about Sri Lanka. And their flag has the one that wields the sword, and it's literally a lion. It says the one that can wield the sword. And isn't it kind of interesting that Lion-O wields the sword? I mean, hello, welcome to Crazy Land. And he's one that wields it. So it's almost like this whole McCloud thing. Isn't it weird? McCloud is the name of the Highlander character. McCloud. And and it's just baffling my brain, man. And all this stuff to do with like the immortality, and there's lightning that comes down, right? They cut the head off of one of them, and then they take the essence of that being, of that person, and they get to live on forever and have immortality. Isn't that just baffling? Come on now, Lariva, you put that in there. Roadrunner, Miguel Gorilla. What's Miguel Gorilla got? He's just up in the window waiting for somebody to come by. Darkwing Duck, it's all ate up. Yeah, Darkwing Duck's all ate up. Yeah. Roadrunner, beep beep. You know what do you got? Howard the Duck, Jason Miller. Don't be going to Howard the Duck. We don't be doing Howard the Duck, man. We don't do Howard the Duck. They can't. Yeah, Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, that's yeah. What was he? What do he say? What do he say always with Pinky? It's Pinky and the Brain. It's Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, that's all messed up. The one is a genius, the other's insane. Yeah, it's insane. It is insane. But y'all cracking me up. I enjoy interacting with you all. Ren and Stimpy, no. Jason Miller, that's a no. I know you got the smiley face going on there. It's a no. we're not gonna be Nick. We're not gonna be doing the Nickelodeon stuff, okay? We're not gonna be doing the Nickelodeon. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, Jason. Yeah, I'm not gonna be doing Fight of Dragons either. But yeah, so anyways, I've enjoyed the broadcast. I hope you all have too. It's been really good. I've been glad to get on here and just have a good time with you guys. It's just good. It's good therapy for me. I like to just interact with you all and just have a good time. It is a blessing, and it really is. It's truly a blessing getting on here. I enjoy it, and I thank you all for always being there, subscribing and liking my stuff. And like I said at the beginning, all seriousness, Jared Miller, I know you're in here. Shout out. Just go back and rewind it, my friend, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But the people that I seen and met, and to have a young little child come up to you and say that I love all your stuff and I watch everything, it puts things in perspective. That I make sure that I speak truth. And when they look up to, when a little child looks up to you, I want to make sure I darn well do a good job to not send them on the wrong path. Like, do the right thing, like always, and not, here we are cutting up and talking about old TV shows and stuff like that, but never let something filthy come out of my mouth. And always hold to what I know, what God has blessed me with my family, teaching me things. There was people, role models that didn't veer. And there was only a few of them, and I can't divert. I need to always preach the truth and speak the truth. And when I met that little dude at the Pentecost, the Puritan barn, it blessed my heart tremendously. And I don't want to let that kid down. I don't want to let anybody down. I mean it. Whatever's left in this body and this whole brain thing I got going on visually and all this stuff, I'm going to endure to the end and do the best darn job I can do for you all. And that's everybody. That's everybody for the Now You See TV crew. I'm talking about, I'm going to do the best darn job. And the number one person that I'm going to do it for is the Lord. I'm going to do it for the Lord. And I mean that. And that, I'm not going to break. I'm not going to turn to the left, turn to the right. Like I said earlier, I'm going to make sure that I continuate the path. And however narrow it is and however rough it is, I'm going to do it like I'm going to do everything in my possible, in my mental state, in my mental capability, in my physical capability to do it and make sure, because I know y'all are getting on here and you all watch our stuff on spiritual warfare, and you want spiritual growth, you want to hear scripture, and you want to shout out to the rooftops of Jesus Christ as King. And I know, and that's the most. Who cares about all the stuff that I just spoke about? If we do not glorify and honor the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, what in the world are we doing? And I'm gonna do the best darn thing. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna do the best I can for you all. Until the last day I draw a breath and my teeth fall out, because that probably is gonna happen. Thanks to this brain issue, that's a whole nother topic. But we're not gonna get into that. That's gonna be another infirmity I have to endure. But hey, welcome to the Twilight Zone. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. But yeah, I'm gonna do the best I can for you all. I hope y'all know that. I really do. And yeah. So, but yeah, very cool people I got to meet at Pentecost. Super, super cool. Memories and stuff that I will not forget. And all glory to the Father on that. I'm all glory to the Father. But yeah, it ain't nothing to do with it ain't nothing to do with me boasting about myself. It's all to do with Him. I'm just trying to shine the light in this old ignorant world. Psalms 91, bless you. I met you. I'm not going to say your name. I remember your name. Starts with a D. Bless you, my friend. I'm glad I got to meet you at the Puritan barn, brother. And DC Cooper, I will meet you and your lovely wife one day. I know you live across the country, but I'll tell you a little feedback. Did you know you can go to Alaska and you can make a little trip to Alaska and you can miraculously appear in Hawaii? It's a Stargate. But I don't know. There might be one in Michigan. But you might get, cut you on, airline tickets and stuff like that and gas. You might have to go through some military operations and stuff. But other than that, might be a little bit fast travel. You know what I'm saying, DC? Oh man, I have to, I have to be silly on here. But an hour and 37 minutes in, I haven't done a live show for a long time. Yeah, do not go out there in Oregon and try to don't be trying to find no windows or, Stargates. Please don't do it. Yeah, I'm just messing with you, bro. But yeah, everybody, y'all have a blessed day. And Mark Tillis, man, great job the other day cracking off. This man is playing the trumpet. I think he's playing the trumpet, singing. Oh, speaking of singing, real quick, another thing to be looking for. I'm writing a song. I know y'all enjoyed my Broken Down Milkman. Y'all been, and people at the Pentecost is racking me up. But I have this song that I'm writing. It's a Nephilim song, incorporating giants, incorporating Jesus and everything in it. And it's gonna be killer. Like, I'm gonna knock that one home. And that one's taken me a lot of time to comprehend and articulate it on paper and everything. But I am going to be bringing that out, and I'm gonna be singing a new song, and it's gonna be kind of funny. But real serious too, and it's got a good good flow to the song. So be anticipating that for future endeavors, future broadcasts. I might just throw it up as a premiere, but I hope y'all enjoy it. But yeah, if you're just now joining us, go back and rewind it. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff today, NASA and a bunch of cartoons, and how the world is orchestrating us into this crazy paradigm of the machine learning and everything to do with the AI control mechanism of this realm. So it's kind of weird, kind of strange, but Swamp Light, shalom. Swamp Light, bless you, man. But yeah, I didn't get to sing. I get to sing. Mark, you took my flavor away, man. I think y'all was trying to get me to sing up there and do the Broken Down Milkman, but remember I told you I said I couldn't do it. It embarrassed my family, I'm glad I got to hear you sing, brother. Y'all cracking me. It was great. It was a great day, blessing. But anyways, I'm gonna get off here because I got a lot to do. But be on the lookout for Sunday night at 9 p.m. Atlantis in America. Me and David Carrico are going to be knocking this, and we're going to be breaking into some weird, controversial things, but be bringing a lot of truth. And I hope y'all enjoy it. Bless you all for being here. Seriously. Oh yeah, there's one other person I seen on here a while ago. It's hard to keep up with everybody. Kooky Lady. Kooky Lady. I got to meet you too. God bless you. And Rockin' Roses, bless you. Hit that like, subscribe button, everybody. And Bobby Hale says yeehaw. And I'm gonna start doing that, man. I might have to do a yeehaw. Remember the old yeehaw song that came out back in the 70s and 80s? It was old country. It was kind of strange, but anyways, y'all keep it fresh, keep it real. Stay away from the Happy Meal. Literally, stay away from it. If you stick it in the corner and wait 10 years, it still looks exactly the same. Don't go through the drive-through that facility. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Shalom. Y'all be blessed. Hope y'all enjoy the Coffee Convo Radio. Stay tuned for future broadcasts. Remember, send me some stuff. UFO phenomenon, UFO photos, visual, video, everything. Anything you want to send, and we're going to do some broadcasts in the future and then incorporate everybody in the broadcast. But y'all be blessed. Shalom. Brian Reese, Visual Disturbance. I'm out. Y'all be blessed.